What's good, yeah, and welcome to this first of many videos today because the new heroes, Lyra and such, have been added to the test server, so I'll be going through those in a bit. But for now we have patch notes for the 9th of December, and those do actually pertain to a couple things. Number one is actually a Init buff. So Enit, the reward for all of us from the Odyssey, has been rather disappointing, you could say. Like, he's a decent unit, he does a lot of true damage, he helps other units deal true damage, but he doesn't do enough. Now, actually he has a new added effect on his basic attack, which reduces the target's damage by 30% for 2.5 seconds, which should remind you of Alistair, and it is basically the hero you need if you do not have Volker and Alistair, or if you do not want to play Volker and need someone to replace or run alongside Alistair. So this is a really nice change, and also a straight up ancient core damage increase from 20 to 25%, which is really nice. And it does have a lot of potential because his main source of damage are, at the end of the day, the ancient cores. So big buff for Enit. He's gonna be useful finally. And for those that haven't yet had the motivation to do the whole Odyssey, you should now have modded enough to take it on. Next up we have stage upgrades. As you can see, they increase the amount of gleaming meteorites you get. For elite you now get 80, for hard you get for elite you get 40, for hard you get 80, plus every other monster is 10. So it should be probably like 200 from the other monsters, so it ends up being like around 300 something gleaming meteorites per hard run, and then 140 on nightmare and 25 for every other, which should be again around probably like 500, 600 should be the amount of gleaming meteorites you get. Then gear dungeon optimizations is basically you now go to the newest stage every time, which is alright. You can now use the master keys in advance, which is great. Not that it really matters, but you can set like a bigger auto run. And start in takeover option. Basically the takeover feature is something that nobody really ever used, and yeah, it's not that well developed as of yet. Then we have takeover runs at 3 times speed is whatever. And then new view guides button for failed challenges and some gear raids. So at least you'll be able to find guides related to the content you failed, which is great. And then for gear, this is very important. We have a buff for the Hell's Lament set, which increases the damage dealt basically increases the damage increase by 50%. So from 8 seconds to 12 seconds, which might be just enough to be viable on a lot of heroes. And then we have the artifact forge. Now displays the number of forgeable artifacts on each forge. Is what it is. We have 200 more artifact storage, very important. New exclusive gear for more heroes. Special visual effects for forging exclusive gear and some gear arrow icons. Very great. I can't wait to have a look at those. And we should be able to have a clear idea of what those are tomorrow, because tomorrow the patch comes live on Forerunners, which means test server, which means I can show you all these changes live in game. And then guilds, you can now view the corresponding team's garrison map during the guild war preparation phase. Alright, optimize guild mail layout, and you can now send more guild mail to your guild members. Next up, we combine all the shops we have. So the Draven Association gets the Mortal Codex shop and the Dungeon shop. We now have hero tags, so you can sort by, for example, single target, burst, ranged. All these blue tags out of the game, you should know who those are, so you'll now be able to search for specifics. And if they do actually continue with it, we might even get like poisoners, burners, thief introductions, and all these valuable tags, so we can finally start properly searching for teams. This is what most of you will be very excited for, and that is you can now save gear and artifacts in Arena Autofight. So basically the same way it works in GVG now, you do a Arena Autofight, it kind of snapshots your stats, and unless you do another run and change the gear, you have even, so basically you have to specifically go in, change the gear if you want to change it, and if you don't, you can even de-equip your heroes for arena and they're still going to keep the same gear with the same stats, which means no more weak ass arena defenses. Next up, to prevent commanders from accidentally triggering built-in full screen gestures. I think it refers to you like this ultimate bar at the bottom, and also some optimization on the phone. It's nothing too special. For 6 we have optimized the combo performance of Rex and Camille. Pretty good. And then we have optimized the price of Mythic Extract and the last slot of Dwarven Association. I hope the gems go down, I hope the gold goes down, and it finally becomes something somewhat viable. And then we have Moonshroud Queen Diana in the shop. We have the mount in Voidrift Barber. I don't know if that means in the shop, or if you can own them like alongside anybody else. And then we have Shadows Descent Ein. So in comparison to the big patch that comes on the 12th of December, this one is 3 days earlier and still very, very exciting. So the big parts are Enit buff, saved gear, more exclusive gear, better health lament, and yeah, I think, and obviously better Void Rift rewards, so you have a higher chance of using the Gleaming Meteorites for what you need. So yeah, this has been the first video. Stay tuned, we're going to go through all the 3 new heroes, what they can do, etc., everything in between, so stay tuned.